Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video this afternoon I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news. So I am going to be giving you a bit more additional information regarding Jadon Sancho, because there's a lot of positivity coming out of the mainstream media regarding Jadon Sancho. Of course, I kept you up to date of what was going on with Jadon Sancho yesterday night, and also I'm going to be talking with you a bit more about Ole Gunnar Solsjkaer, but we'll delve into that topic a bit later on in the video. So we'll start with Jadon Sancho. So I have just been reading social media. They are now basically saying that Jadon Sancho has agreed to join Manchester United. Now obviously he's set to snub Real Madrid and Chelsea, because Real Madrid and Chelsea have also expressed their interest in the player. And also to Liverpool have just recently, reignited their interest in Jadon Sancho. But Jadon Sancho has revealed his preference is a move to Manchester United. He is expected to leave Borussia Dortmund at the end of the season. Borussia Dortmund themselves have confirmed this. He is going to cost Manchester United in the excess of around £120 million. Borussia Dortmund did quote out that they wanted £100 million at least, but I think it's going to cost us around £120 million, and Manchester United are set to offer him a £200,000 a week contract. So that does mean in that aspect that he will be one of our highest paid players at the football club, will Jadon Sancho and that. But Manchester United have been long admirers of Jadon Sancho anywhere. Obviously, don't forget we went in for him last summer. We also went in for him in January 2019. But obviously the main explanation why we missed out on Jadon Sancho then is because we failed to qualify for the Champions League. And obviously, players of Jadon Sancho's calibre wants to be in Champions League football, basically. But even if Manchester United, don't, qualify for Europe this season, I'm still convinced, that we can get Jadon Sancho in the summer. Of course, Jadon Sancho has enjoyed a difficult time at Borussia Dortmund this season. Obviously, he has been dropped in a lot of games. But I think, analysing the vast majority of his tenure with Borussia Dortmund, he's really done well. I thought he was really, really good, in his second season, did well in his first season. And, Borussia Dortmund are going to make a huge profit on the player. They only paid around £6 or £7 million for him from Manchester City. He did serve a couple of years with Manchester City, but the main explanation, why he left Manchester City is because City couldn't assure him first-team opportunities. And, of course, before he was at City, he was at Watford. So he's well proven in the Premier League. And him, reuniting in the Premier League will be beneficial for his career anyway. Jadon Sancho is only 19 years of age. I think he's got around 2 years left on his current contract with Dortmund. His contract does expire in 2022. But, he's a very, very good player. He will fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because Solskjaer has revealed he still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players to Manchester United this summer. To be honest with you, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager in the summer anywhere. So, that's my own perception on that. So it's looking likely Jadon Sancho is going to be our first signing in the summer transfer window. Jadon Sancho can predominantly play as a right winger. You can also play him centrally, but he is predominantly a right winger. In the Bundesliga for Borussia Dortmund, he has made a total of 65 appearances and he has scored 25 goals. And I think in all competitions he's made around 84 or 85 appearances. But I am excited about the prospect of Jadon Sancho coming in, because I think he'll complement our attacking line well. I think he'll, blend in well alongside the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Martial, Daniel James, Marcus Rashford and that. So I am excited about the prospects of Jadon Sancho coming in. He's a player that will be able to assure Man United goals. His runs on off the ball are very, very good. He's also very good at creating chances, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But yeah, he's going to be our most expensive signing, so we're going to have to pay more, for Jadon Sancho than what we paid for Paul Pogba, and we paid £89 million for Paul Pogba, and he's our most expensive signing at the moment. But as you all know anyway, Borussia Dortmund are now obviously, looking for an adequate replacement for Jadon Sancho. He reported out a couple of days ago saying that they've expressed an interest in Emile Dennis. He's a current Nigerian striker. Another one of the main explanations why Man United have been regarded as the favourites to sign Sancho is because Chelsea have signed or are closing in on the signing of Hakim Ziyech from Ajax. So this is another one of the main explanations. So yeah, I'll be very, very excited about Jadon Sancho coming in. I think Manchester United need around 3 or 4 signings in the summer at least if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club, and if we are to be up there challenging for major honours. Because obviously at the moment, you know, you've got City that are strides ahead of us, Liverpool are strides ahead of us, and it's going to take us time, you know, to get to Manchester City and Liverpool's level. It's going to take us time. But it's going to take a long rebuilding process, and you know, there is still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. And obviously, I'm delighted that, you know, we have addressed some of the problematic areas. Of course, you know, we got Harry Maguire in for £80 million. You know, he's the second most expensive sign at the club. You know, the most expensive defender in the world. So I'm glad we got the centre half in. I'm glad we got Wan-Bissaka in, you know, as the right back. You know, we got James in. You know, we got Fernandes in and that. So we have addressed some of the problematic areas, but there's still deficiencies in the squad that need to be addressed. I think Manchester United need another midfielder. I think, yeah, we need a right winner. Jadon Sancho, of course, will be that right winner. You've got to probably say Greenwood's a good backup, you know, to Jadon Sancho if Sancho comes in. We possibly need another centre-half. You know, we need someone to go alongside Harry Maguire. I know Lindelof's done well alongside him, but, you know, probably we need someone like Harry Maguire's level. So you can say Lindelof would be good as a backup if, you know, we could get, you know, another centre-half in. Because we are still conceding goals despite, you know, Harry Maguire's arrival. Possibly we need a left-back because Luke Shaw's struggling for that consistency and obviously has sustained a lot of injuries as a Man United player. He's highly experienced, is Luke Shaw. Solsjkaer may go on him in that aspect. But Brandon Williams is now our first choice left-back, and Brandon Williams is in his first season in the senior squad with Man United, but he's still inexperienced at the moment. You know, there's some people saying that, you know, we need a left winger. So, you know, maybe if we can, you know, recommend a left winger in, then we can say, you know, Daniel James can be there as a backup again. So these still areas in the squad that definitely, you know, do need to be addressed. Obviously, you know, we are making a lot of plans for the summer. Obviously, you know, as you all know, Ed Woodward recently came out and, you know, he wrote a fans forum. And obviously, you know, he's come out and defended the club's recruitment policy, and he's assured that Manchester United will make more signings in the summer, and he's determined to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with more transfers in the summer. Of course, Solskjaer has been now at Manchester United. He's been here for around 14 months. He's been permanent manager for around 11 months as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think, you know, one of the mistakes Man United did make was giving him the job on a permanent basis. The main explanation why we give Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis is reflecting on how good he did, you know, when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period. But, you know, Solskjaer has recruited 5 players in 3 transfer windows. You know, Solskjaer spent over £200 million, you know, since he got recommended in at Manchester United. I do believe the club will be, you know, orchestrating on spending a substantial amount in the summer, recommending more players in. I can't really estimate how much Man United have got, and I can't estimate how much we're going to spend in the summer, but I do presume it's going to be a substantial amount, revert back to what I said. But on the other hand, players are expected to leave in the summer, so we're going to generate some money for some of the players that leave in the summer. Obviously, a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. So, obviously, you know, we generated some money from, you know, some of the players that have left. Obviously, Lukaku left, don't forget. So, we generated a substantial amount for him. You know, we generated some money for Ashley Young leaving. Also, on the other hand, our wage bill has been freed up a bit. You know, we have still got the highest wage bill in the Premier League, but it has been freed up a bit. You know, because obviously, you know, Romelu Lukaku, like I said, he was on a substantial amount. Sanchez is out on loan with Inter Milan. But despite that, you know, we're still paying the vast majority of Alexis Sanchez's wages, even though he is on loan, you know, with Inter Milan and that. So, like I said, we have got quite a lot of players on our agenda who we could go in for in the summer. It's not only Sancho. A lot of reports were coming out yesterday saying, you know, Man United are planning a double transfer swoop for James Maddison and Jack Grealish. And reportedly, you know, they will cost us in the excess of £160 million. Now, that is a lot of money. Now, obviously, as you all know, reports were coming out. reports were coming out saying that Jack Grealish the other day had agreed personal terms with Man United and he was searching for a house in Manchester. And he's revealed if he does leave Aston Villa in the summer, his preference is a move to Manchester United. The likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona and Man City have expressed their interest, but I do believe Jack Grealish would be the right calibre player for Manchester United, definitely, because he's well proven in the Premier League. He can create chances, he can also score goals, and he's done really, really well with Aston Villa. Up until this point, he has spent the entirety of his career with Aston Villa. I think he's got around a 45 million release clause in his contract that's been revealed, and he's under contract with Aston Villa until 2023. I think disregarding James Maddison with him, he's going to probably cost a loan around 45, from between 45 to 60 million pounds is Jack Grealish, and he's only at the age of 24. He can play as an attacking mid, and he can also play as a winner. We can afford to let Paul Pogba go in the summer if we do get Jack Grealish. We can afford to let him go, but Jack Grealish and Bruno Fernandes as a partnership in our midfield, would be very, very good, because I think they complement each other fantastically well, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, I do like Jack Grealish a lot. And James Maddison, obviously there was reports saying that he was closing in on signing a new deal with Leicester. Of course, he's got around 3 years left, has he, on his current contract, James Maddison. But he said he was closing on signing a new deal with Leicester and that. So I said, didn't I was very sceptical that we're going to get him in the summer. If we could get James Maddison and Jack Grealish in the summer, that would be absolutely fantastic. So reckon that up for them three players, Sancho, Maddison and Grealish. So that's around £280 million on three players. 120 for Sancho and £160 million for James Maddison and Jack Grealish and that. So yeah, so they're, the players on, our current agenda and that. So let's give you now the latest news regarding Ole Gunnar Solsjkaer. Now, I've been reading reports today, and it did say that Ed Woodward has been told that Ole Gunnar Solsjkaer cannot be trusted, with transfer funds at Manchester United and that. So what they're basically saying is he's not reliable, to spend any more money at the football club. Now, I don't believe Solskjaer, will be here in the summer anywhere. I think Manchester United, will get rid of him. We'll stick with him until the end of this season. Then I think, we will get rid of him. Obviously, reports came out not too long ago saying that, Manchester United will only sack Solskjaer on one condition, and that's if we don't get any European football or if we finish out of the top six. Because obviously, if we was to qualify for the Champions League or get any European football and was to finish within the top six, then possibly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could be given another season at Manchester United, because this is his first full season at the football club at the moment. But he has been under intense pressure this season, because obviously, the results haven't been good enough, the performances haven't been good enough. We have enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. Obviously, so we haven't been as bad as this up until this point in the Premier League era. We are sitting 8th in the Premier League. We are sitting 6 points behind top 4. And I did say, didn't I, that's one of our ambitions this season, is to get into that top 4. What?
It's £47,129.09.
Alright.
I've entered it, fella. I won't win it now, I won't win that, no way. Either. I'll be if you run me out, please. That would be unbelievable. What do you think my chances are? 0.
Yeah.
You never know, fella. You never know. Not in it. You don't win it.
So like I said, this season, one of our ambitions is to finish in that top 4. Also, we need to try and get some silverware on the board, because we have lacked silverware in the last 6-7 years. You know, we can win the Europa League, we can win the FA Cup and that. So, yeah. But, you know, from what I know, in this generation, Ole Gunnar Solsjkaer is the worst manager Manchester United have had. You know, because I haven't seen any improvements under him, you know, than what I saw under Mourinho, Louis van Gaal and David Moyes. And, you know, except the 3 months, of course, when he was the interim manager. But, you know, Solskjaer is aware this is a transition period. And obviously, you know, he's hopeful that we can get through this transition period, like he did mention at the beginning of the year. But the main explanation is why he's not the right manager for Man United, because his managerial style doesn't suit the club. He's too inexperienced as a manager. Obviously, he's too inexperienced as a manager. As a player, my perception is totally comparison, because I thought he was a good player for us for 11 years. But as a manager, he is just too inexperienced, and that is the current problem. And I know he knows the club well and that, you know, but I just think he's had long enough at Manchester United, and he feels as though that if he's given the right amount of time, he can build a team like Jurgen Klopp. He can emulate into next Jurgen Klopp, but that's not going to happen. You know, I think he'll be gone in the summer, and Man United will obviously have to pay to get rid of him, because he's still got like 2.5 years left, you know, remaining on his current contract. But, you know, we need to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and of course, if he is to be sacked by the football club, he will be the 4th manager to be sacked since the Alex Ferguson era, because already at the moment we've sacked David Moyes. He endured 9 or 10 months. We sacked Louis van Gaal after like a year or so, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after he endured a 2.5-year tenure with the club. And we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers anywhere, because we're not really known as a sacking football club and that. But, you know, we've got to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, definitely, because tactically naive as well. Doesn't really have a plan A, doesn't really have a plan B. But he just isn't good enough for Manchester United. But management isn't only the issue. You know, there's fundamental issues at the club. You know, we need to see a variety of changes at the club. You know, we need to get Solskjaer out. You know, a lot of the fans have got doubts about the executive and, you know, the club's ownership. You know, our board have been a liability for several years and that. So we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. So there's a lot of problems in that with the backroom staff. You know, there's also problems on the pitch. You know, there's still a lot of aspects of our game that need to improve. Around probably 4 or 5 players, you know, need to go in the summer. And I think Man United need to recommend a director of footballing. You know, a director of football. I was disappointed that we didn't get a director of footballing last summer. There was quite a few former Man United players linked with that director's role last summer and that. You know, but we need basically to get a director of footballing, so obviously Ed Woodward can move away from the footballing decisions, and we need someone to come in who knows the traditions of the club, someone's philosophy would be right for the club and that. So it's a shame that we didn't get a director of footballing. So yeah. And, you know, Mauricio Pochettino is the favourite to take over at Manchester United. He's the favourite to take over. Obviously, you know, like I updated you yesterday, reports coming out saying that, you know, he wants to become Manchester United's new manager. He's obviously held negotiations with the football club. More speculation have fueled up yesterday because obviously, you know, he was spotted alongside Neil Ashton, who is Ed Woodward's new advisor at Griffin Park at Brentford, that is. He was spectating the Brentford and Leeds game. And, you know, Pochettino has said, you know, he would love a return to the Premier League. So he does want to continue managing in the Premier League. He is well proven in the Premier League because he did enjoy 5.5 years with Tottenham, and he was recently speaking about his Tottenham legacy. He says, you know, it's more important than winning trophies. Obviously, before he was at Tottenham, he was at Southampton. You know, he enjoyed a good short tenure with them. So he's managed a total of 3 clubs at the moment, but 2 of them have been Premier League clubs. I think we'll recommend Pochettino in at the end of the season. Then we don't have to pay anything to get him in, because if he was to come to Man United now, or any other club before the end of the season, then, you know, Tottenham would be entitled to £10 million in compensation. Pochettino would be the right manager for Man United. You know, we've been long admirers of him anywhere, you know, because obviously went in for him after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December 2018. We made a mistake not appointing him in after the sacking of Jose Mourinho. Instead, we went with Solsjkaer because obviously it was a cheaper solution. Plus, Solskjaer did well as interim manager, so we decided to give him the job on a permanent basis. But I think Pochettino would do well at Man United. I'm not saying that we'd be challenging or winning the league. I just think we'd look a much better outfit under Mauricio Pochettino's guidance. His philosophy would be right for the club. Probably would be more reliable to, he would be reliable, to spend money with Manchester United and that, because like I mentioned, some people believe that Solskjaer's not reliable, to spend money at Manchester United. But Pochettino, if he comes in, he will be our 5th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, he's been linked to other managerial roles, Munich were in for him earlier on this season. Madrid have been long admirers of him. Atletico Madrid have recently inquired about getting him in. Don't forget Barcelona were in for Pochettino at one point. But I do like Pochettino a lot. So it's looking very, very likely he will be Manchester United's next manager. And I think Tottenham made a mistake getting rid of him, because obviously he did say, he gave his overarching view on it. He said after his sacking from Tottenham last year that he did want an immediate return, to management. But I think he's going to be Manchester United's next manager. But it's not always the right solution, persistently sacking managers. It's not always the right solution. But I did say, didn't I? I think analysing our squad, it's good enough to, finish in the top 4. It's not good enough to win the league, we know that. But it's good enough for the top 4 finish. I expect us to have a better season this season than what we saw last season, because last season was very disappointing. Last season, we finished 6th. We didn't win any silverware. And I think the lowest we've ever finished in the Premier League era was back under the David Moyes era. I think, we did finish 7th in that current season and that. But, Man United have had a lot of injuries this season, but that's not excusable for how inconsistent we've been. Obviously players are now coming back from injury, which is good. Of course, Rashford's out for a couple of months at least, with a back injury, and Rashford's been one of our best players this season. He's the long-term solution for Man United, because Rashford up until this point has spent the entirety of his career with a football club. Also too, Pogba, he's continuing his rehabilitation from his ankle injury. He's obviously not been in Spain, Marbella, because obviously, like I mentioned, because he continues recovering from his ankle injury. I don't know if he's going to be available for Chelsea, Paul Pogba, but he's close to returning from injury. As you all know, he's going in the summer, he's Paul Pogba. But when he comes back, when McTominay comes back, we'll look much better in that midfield. McTominay, of course, he's recovering. Solskjaer give his verdict on it, and he says, he's close to returning. He was part of the warm weather training camp in Spain, was McTominay. And he's another one of the players I would be determined to keep at Manchester United, Scott McTominay. So, yeah, he's close to coming back. Obviously, Bay and Foster-Mensah have just recently come back. Diego Dalot's just recently come back. He sustained quite a few injuries this season, has Diego Dalot. I think also Tuanzebe is coming back. So, yeah, but we have had a lot of injuries this season. Don't forget, there's also a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve. Odion Ighalo is going to be making his debut against Chelsea. Despite the fact that he wasn't part of the warm weather training camp. The main explanation why he wasn't is, because of the fears of the coronavirus. Because that coronavirus has been going round, as you all know. There's been a lot of reports going on about that. So he did remain in the UK. I do believe Odion Ighalo will get given his chances. He's an experienced player. He's a lifelong Man United fan. We've got him on a 6-month loan. We've paid around 3 or 4 million to get him on loan. But like I mentioned, he's a good cover-up to Rashford. He's, a good alternative to Anthony Martial. He's fighting for Anthony Martial's role. And we need to put Martial back on the left, because that's his predominant position. Or if not that, drop Martial completely, because his performances have been poor, at least in the last 6 or 7 in his last 6 or 7 Premier League games and that. But the vast majority of his tenure with Man United, Martial's been playing on that left-hand side. And there was reports also saying if Odion Ighalo doesn't hit the ground running straight away, he could get Solskjaer the sack also. If Martial, people are saying that Solskjaer's been warned that Anthony Martial could get him the sack. And Solsjkaer is aware that he's been under intense pressure for the vast majority of this season. Bruno Fernandes, play him at number 10, because obviously, we need to put him in his predominant position, because he's predominantly an attacking midfielder. I think he'll do well for us, Bruno Fernandes. He was good on his debut against Wolves. He wasn't impressed with his debut against Wolves, Bruno Fernandes, but I thought he did really, really well. Had the most touches in the first half. I think created the most chances. So I would keep, Bruno Fernandes, at Man United. I think he'll do really, really well. I really, really do. It's just the usage of the player is the element of concern. Because even Giggs came out a couple of weeks ago and he said, he could become a liability, if he's operating in a defensive midfield role. So he'll do well at Manchester United. He's going to be here at least for the next 5.5 years. Well, 6.5 years, because we do have the option to extend his contracts for a further year. But I think Bruno Fernandes will do, really, really well. But it'll be interesting to see how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer approaches the game against Chelsea. As you all know, the preview for the game will be coming up very, very soon. Let's take a look at something. The preview for the game will be coming up very, very soon, and I think it could decide who finishes in the top 4 this season. Obviously, Chelsea 6 points ahead of us at the moment. If they win, they're 9 points in front, and then I fully will disregard the top 4. On the other hand, if we win, we are only 3 points behind top 4 and that. But I'll be giving you more of a build-up to the game as the game gets closer, so take that into account. So, yeah, and that's everything to update you with today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.